let's go through Time Out, through their top 20 best documentaries of all time, and this could inspire some conversation. Did you guys see their number 20 is actually another very intriguing movie from a very intriguing filmmaker, Tony Kaye.
Mm-hmm.
Their number 20 is Lake of Fire, the epic abortion documentary.
No, I want to see it.
I've never seen that. I
want to see it. I just haven't gotten around to it. But
that I think it's on DVD. It might be out of print, so I think it's probably more expensive than usual.
Right. Okay.
Because I was interested in watching it again. It was interesting. I mean, this movie, if I remember correctly, it's over 3 hours long, and it was made in 2006. And you think to yourself, you know, what new thing is there to say about the abortion argument, debate?
Mm-hmm.
And the movie doesn't really have anything new to say. Its value is that this is really actually an objective documentary that gives equal time to both sides of the argument, and you never feel as if it's judging for itself which side to fall on. Which was his intention in making the documentary. The thing that really distinguishes it, and this is a deal breaker for a lot of people, I'm sure, that might think of watching it, is it shows an actual abortion at the end of it.
Well, I guess you have to have it, you know.
It is necessary, especially. I mean, you feel like it's necessary, especially as exhaustive as this movie is.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what we're talking about is ultimately what it comes down to.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's an interesting movie. And I know that we've all three seen their number 19 pick, which is The Times of Harvey Milk. We've talked to that filmmaker about it, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's still brilliant. I still love it. I still think that, you know, it totally trumps the narrative film Milk. You know, it's 1,000 times better.
I would agree with you on that. Well, this is one of my favorites, Hearts of Darkness.
Yeah,
number 18.
I think it's one of the best movie behind the scenes, just movie documentaries ever made, without a doubt.
Yeah,
I think
no question about it.
I think so too. And just, you know, I can, if I get the Apocalypse Now box set, I'm more likely to watch the documentary first. You know?
Holy shit, I have that on Blu-ray. Oh yeah, I own that. Okay, yeah, never mind.
I haven't purchased it yet, but I've been meaning to. But
I've got a copy of it on VHS. So
I do too.
I do too. So
I had a special order my VHS copy years ago because it was long out of print. And Dean, you'll like this. Stop Making Sense at number 17.
Good choice.
That's good. Very good. Got to be up there. It's funny, some people don't consider concert movies to be documentaries. They pigeonhole documentaries as being, you know, like literally talking heads movies, you know, where people are being interviewed and stuff. But no, it's concert movie is just as much of a documentary as anything else.
Yeah. Kitty Cat Follies, number 16.
Well, I'm sorry, what was that? Which one?
That's in my top 10.
Kitty Cat
Follies.
Yeah.
Have you seen that, Jerry?
No, I have. Well, I didn't hear the title. I didn't hear the.
It's called Titicut Follies.
I've heard of it. I've never seen it. What is it about? What is?
You just wanted us to say tit again.
Yeah.
It's Frederick Wiseman's first movie done in '67 about the insane asylum. You know, and how conditions in a particular insane asylum.
That sounds fascinating.
It's great, but it's hard to watch.
1967 is when it came out. It was met with a 24-year ban on public screenings.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. But it changed a lot of things. I think it changed. It had a major ripple effect throughout the entire industry.
That's how you know that you've hit a nerve, when they can ban your movie for 24 years.
Yes.
You're doing something right.
It's true.
Crumb, number 15.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah. That's number 11 on I have my list in front of me, my top 101 documentaries. That's number 11 on my list.
Number 14.
Great movie.
Number 14, I've seen this. Hearts and Minds.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about the treatment of Vietnam in film, and we think in terms of the narrative films. I mean, Hearts and Minds was definitely one of the very first out of the gate.
Yeah, no, it's very important.
I mean, it's. I think the only one. There's only a couple that might have beat it, and that's the interviews with My Lai veterans. It was done by Joseph Strick in a little like maybe a year, like 1970, I think. And then there was In the Year of the Pig, done by Emile D'Antonio in the mid-'60s. That's really the first one, because it gets in there like before we've even thrown all our chips in, you know. So it's talking about mainly the French conflict and sort of the run up to war. So.
And that won the Best Documentary Oscar.
Right.
That year, too. Man, my voice just got really deep. Do you notice that?
Yeah, I was going to
it's very white deep.
Man, I'm going to do the show like this from now on. This is Sexy Movie Geeks United. I'm going to use my sexy voice, which is probably the only time that this has ever happened when this movie has been mentioned. The number 13 greatest documentary of all time is Triumph of the Will.
That's an important film. Although I've never heard it introduced like that, but yeah, I mean, you just watch that. It's a fascinating
How do
film.
you know, there was years ago, I know that Jodie Foster was interested in playing Leni Riefenstahl in a film, a biopic. I mean, just absolutely grandiose filmmaking.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way around it. I mean, regardless of what, you know, it is watching both of those films. I mean, and there's a documentary that came out about her, I think in the early 90s that I found.
Yeah, it's called The Wonderful Horrible Life of Leni Riefenstahl.
So
yeah.
That's right, Jodie Foster did want to play her. What part was Mel Gibson going to have in the film? I guess this would be the prequel to The Beaver.
He would be Hitler.
That would be obvious, yeah.
He would be perfect. Inspired
but extraordinary filmmaking, and it's clearly a propaganda film.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, it is. No question about it. I mean, it is. I mean, it has the whole power of the Reich behind it, literally.
You have two of the greatest propaganda films. Actually, three of the greatest propaganda films coming out of this. You have the Triumph of the Will, but also in Russia, Soviet Union, you have Alexander Nevsky, which may be the greatest pro-war film ever made, and you have Ivan the Terrible's Part 1 and 2. And remember, I think there was going to be a Part 3 too, but that never happened. But
you could also throw in there Riefenstahl's Olympia.
Oh, Olympia is very important. That's a very important film. I mean,
well, and you know, they didn't do the third Ivan the Terrible, but I heard they were considering a reboot. Would have been interesting.
Well, you know, there is a reboot of Alexander Nevsky. They remade Alexander. The Russians remade. I guess Putin wanted it remade. There is a remake of Alexander Nevsky. I don't know if it's available here yet or not, but on DVD. But they did remake it.
I think it'd be very interesting to see the story of Ivan the Terrible redone, though. That would be fascinating.
Yes, no, I agree 100%. I would love that.
I find the Eisenstein movies to be a little difficult to watch because they're so overblown. You know?
They're overblown, but they have great scores, though. They have awesome.
They do.
I'm sorry. Nothing beats the Sam Raimi original for me.
That's true. That's very true. You're
Ivan the Terrible.
Right.
Yeah.
Number 12, Werner Herzog. Just a matter of time before he pops up. Guess what movie is?
Grizzly Man.
Grizzly Man.
Yes.
That's it. That's definitely his best documentary. I'm a big fan of, he's got 3 movies on my list. Little Dieter Needs to Fly, and also, I really loved Encounters at the End of the World.
That's a good one.
That was brilliant.
A good one.
What's the one that is it Fitzcarraldo, or is it the Ship of Dreams? Something of Dreams.
That's Burden of Dreams, and that's
Burden of Dreams is great, though. Oh my God, that's a great. That's not him though. That's another one that you could put up there with Hearts of Darkness. That's a great thing about making movies.
Oh, Burden of Dreams isn't Werner Herzog?
No, it's about him, but he didn't direct it, though.
It's
I see.
blank.
Man,
Left
Werner
blank.
Herzog is fascinating.
Oh, he is.
He got shot during an interview. Do you guys know that? He was doing an interview, and a stray bullet hit him. I don't think it was intended for him. It just, like, out of nowhere, he was sitting on a balcony doing an interview, and his body felt the impact of a stray bullet.
Documentary on Klaus Kinski is great too, though. My Best Fiend. I love that.
My Best Fiend. That is terrific.
That's
no
hilarious.
Question,
I didn't see the death row thing that he just.
I haven't seen that yet either. I need to watch.
I saw that, and that was good too. That was good too. Not one of his best, but I mean, even Herzog's least best is like better than 10 million other filmmakers. So.
And if you're a big fan of artier fare, of fare that's outside of the mainstream, and you're groaning about the next Tom Cruise movie where he plays Jack Reacher, just be comforted in the fact that Werner Herzog plays the villain in that movie.
Well, that should be a wild. It should be a wild movie anyway.
No, I mean, he really does. Yeah, that'll be great. That'll be
awesome.
Yeah.
I mean,
inspired, that choice.
Yeah.
Number 11, Salesman.
That's my number one pick. I think that's the greatest documentary that's ever been made.
Door-to-door Bible salesman in the 50s or 60s or 50s.
Yeah. 60s.
Okay.
Like
I said,
is that still available on Criterion? That's Criterion, isn't it?
Yes, that's
is.
On Criterion. Isn't Triumph of the Will on Criterion too?
I don't know.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. But definitely Salesman and Grey Gardens both are on Criterion.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's Albert and David Maisels and Charlotte Zwerin are the filmmakers there. Boy, they're great.
Number 10, Man with a Movie Camera.
Oh,
that's also in my top 10. It's number 8.
Wow, they're really going all out here.
They really are. Yeah, I mean, this is a smart list.
Yeah, definitely. You know, the great thing about Man with the Movie Camera is it's one of those. It's a great silent film for this. You could take any piece of music, cut the sound down. You know, don't use their music that they slap on it. Cut the sound down. Put any piece of music to it, and it seems like it was made for that piece of music because of its rhythmic editing and everything. It's really the progenitor of the whole, the quote-unquote MTV style of editing.
Right.
I mean, it was already done way back in 29. So
29, yeah.
Ziga Vertov.
Does it have a VJ in it? Who's the VJ in it?
I think it's downtown Julie Brown is in it.
Okay, that's great. Number 9, the highest ranking Michael Moore film on their list, Roger and Me.
Yeah, you have to have that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's lower. It's lower on my list. I mean, I feel like Roger Moore. My love of Roger Moore has waned over the years in some ways.
Michael Moore,
not Roger Moore.
Michael Moore. That probably happened to him a million times. Michael Moore's, my love for him has waned because I don't like what the popularity of his movies has done to the documentary genre as a whole. I feel like a lot of people are out there trying to imitate him. That said, I mean, Roger and Me and a few other of his movies are just indispensable.
Yeah. I'd love to actually talk to him about filmmaking. I've never read a single damn interview with him where he talks about filmmaking.
That's true. That's very true, Jamie.
And what the hell does he do for a living?
That is so true. That would be such a refreshing interview to hear him talk about just making movies instead of political things.
But then again, maybe he doesn't want to. Number 8, Nanook of the North, 1922.
Wow, they're really going like all out far back. I mean,
Robert Flaherty. Yeah. Yeah, you got to have that on the list. I mean, that kind of invented the genre pretty much. So you have to have it.
Number 7, 1965, a masterpiece of what-if storytelling, a chilling feature depicting the aftermath of a British nuclear war from a You Are There perspective. It's called The War Game.
Yeah. That's amazing. Of course, we've talked about this filmmaker on the show. I'm a huge fan of this filmmaker. His name is Peter Watkin. He's British, and he's the difficulty about The War Game is that it's not technically a documentary in the sense that everything in it is staged. So it's done in a documentary style. I have it on my list, but I'm thinking about taking it off because all of his movies are done in a documentary style, whether it be the movie he did about Edvard Munch or Punishment Park or the movie I talked about during our war movie segment a few weeks ago, The Battle of Culloden. They're all done, in this sort of dispassionate documentary style. But they're not documentaries. They're done with actors and they're written and so forth. So I don't know. But The War Game is a great movie, no question about it. And it did win the Oscar that year for.
Yeah, it did. 1966 Oscar. Number 6, Bob Dylan. Hey.
Yeah,
that's my impression for the night. You want another impression? I was watching The Dark Knight tonight because I've been brushing up on the Chris Nolan Batman movies. And then I was thinking of The Dark Knight Rises trailer. Has Michael Caine become more Cockney? And that one line that he has in the trailer, I promised to my own father that I would look out for you.
There's 5 trailers. A 5th trailer debuted yesterday.
It's what the hell is
that's craziness. I'm glad I haven't seen but one of them.
No, but do you really? This, like we said, this thing's pre-sold. You guys have it. You guys own this rest of the summer, pretty much. What are you worried about?
Yeah. Tuesday morning, I get to see it. So that'll be. I'm excited.
Cool.
But the Bob Dylan documentary is "Don't Look Back," right?
Right. I'm sorry. I got to stop segue. I'm sorry.
That's the D.A. Pennebaker thing. Yeah, that's amazing.
You guys like the Scorsese Dylan documentary? No Direction Home?
I love the Scorsese one, but the Pennebaker one is the king.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that captures him at a certain period in his life.
Right.
67.
That can't be replicated.
Yeah. And I mean, there's an interesting sort of there's a companion documentary with Don't Look Back called Eat the Document that was released a couple of years later. That's really almost just as good. Really, it's culled from the same batch of footage, but there was so much of it that they made 2 documentaries out of it. So Eat the Document is if you like Don't Look Back, you might as well go see Eat the Document as well.
Number 5, 1976, Harlan County, USA.
That's a good one.
Yeah, Barbara Koppel.
Yeah.
She won the Oscar for that year, and then
Kentucky Coal Mine Strike.
And then she won an Oscar in the 80s for a movie called American Dream, which is also great about Union. And it's actually a much harsher movie than Harlan County, USA. And it's about Union clashes at a Hormel meatpacking plant.
Wow, yeah. I remember that, yeah.
And it's actually it's surprisingly it's a much harsher movie, like much more disturbing.
What year was Norma Ray? Norma Ray was
79.
79. Okay. Number 4, Night and Fog. I think this is a movie that's actually Criterion.
Night and Fog.
Holocaust documentary. It's a half-hour short. Right?
Yeah, I remember that. We watched that in high school, actually.
Alan Renee.
Well, it was a happy day in high school.
We never got to see the sorrow and the pity though in high school.
Couldn't we play something more optimistic, like Macbeth or something?
We saw that too in high school.
I remember being shown Macbeth in high school, and it was the Polanski version.
Oh, that was great. We watched that. That was great.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a pretty bloody movie to be showing
I
at
know.
high school. That's pretty crazy. They didn't know
great.
what they were putting in, did they? They didn't know it. They
No,
hadn't watched it.
we had the most senile English teacher, and she didn't know what was going on around her. One day I convinced her, "Can I show the class a movie?" And she said, "Sure. This is like anything goes day." It was near the end of the school year. I said, "Okay, great." And I had The Shining in my backpack. She had no idea. She was sitting at her desk, and all the kids were loving it. She couldn't see the screen because it was in front of her desk, and it was it. That bathroom scene was amazing. I was a hero for a day in high school.
Carried you out of there on their shoulders. That's hilarious.
And little did I know, one day I was going to interview that naked woman. It's full circle.
Yes.
Number 3, The Thin Blue Line, Errol Morris.
That definitely changed documentaries,
Yeah.
I think, Although I don't see, it's funny, I don't see a lot of people really trying to imitate Errol Morris. Not in films, but on television you see it quite a bit.
Well, especially when it comes to the Thin Blue Line. I mean, you see it in every, we mentioned in the previous interviews, you see it in every freaking unsolved mystery, Dateline report.
Yeah.
But I tell you the one thing that Errol Morris gave us in terms of documentaries that has been picked up by pretty much every single documentary made since is the camera rig that he invented, where he with the interview subjects actually looking at the pretty much at the camera, that allowed them to do that in an interview setting.
Yeah.
I mean, that changed it in a very real way.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I wonder, is that something that he's patented? And I know he's patented it, but is that something that he's actually sold to other people, to other filmmakers, or is that something that he's? Is that
I don't know how he did that, but you know who did that with him?
Who?
Bob Richardson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. That's interesting.
Because he worked with Morris for a couple of times.
It's I don't know if you guys have ever seen Errol Morris's television show that he did called First Person, but it's pretty good. I think he did it for IFC.
Yeah, that was.
And a lot of the time in that show, you can see him. You can kind of get a glimpse of what that device is, because there's like a big screen over the, I guess it's over the camera lens, right above it, that has his face on it. So it's basically like I don't know. It's basically like Errol Morris if he had like a camera in his stomach or something. That's basically what it is.
It's Errol Morris doing a colonoscopy, which I'm sure the interview subjects kind of feel that way about it too.
Yeah.
I just rewatched The Fog of War. Was on Encore the other night.
I like that film a lot. I think it's a very good documentary.
I mean,
definitely on my top 100. Yeah.
You couldn't have a better subject, a more relevant subject than McNamara. And what a life, and a life that we're still feeling the impact of. I think I can't imagine a time where we won't feel the impact of that in this country.
I'm a big fan of his movie Dr. Death. Remember that?
That's a crazy movie.
I'm a big fan. I think that's after Fog of War, and of course I'm also a huge. On my list, he's got 5 movies on the list. He's the top next to the Maisels. I'm a huge fan of Gates of Heaven and about the Pet Cemetery.
Roger Ebert's favorite movie. Yeah.
And also Vernon, Florida, which I think was his follow-up to that.
I do much prefer Dr. Death over Dr. Detroit. I gotta tell you.
So much for the Dr. Detroit sequel.
Yeah. Number 2, Sans Soleil, 1983.
That's
one?
another movie on the list that I've yet to see. That's
enthralling, globe-hopping essay, which is perhaps the finest first-person documentary ever made. We're following a world traveler as he journeys between locations from San Francisco to Africa, from Iceland to Japan. A female narrator speaks over the images as if they were letters home, even though the episodes play out right in front of us. Each viewer is bound to have their own favorite segments. That's interesting. I wonder how you can find that.
I think that's on Criterion too, I believe.
Really? Okay.
That's Chris Marker, who also did La Jetée, which is not a documentary, the thing that 12 Monkeys is based on.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And I think they're both on Criterion on the same disc.
Any guess what their number one is?
Monterey Pop or Gimme Shelter, maybe. Sorrow and the Pity.
Woodstock.
Wow.
No?
Shoah.
Shoah.
Of course.
You know, Shoah is a movie that I have to say I respect more than I love, because I respect it because it's a great document. It's probably the ultimate document of no one could ever make a Holocaust movie like it ever again.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I have to say it's like 7 hours long or whatever, and it is a trudge to get through it because Landsman is French and he's talking to a Polish person. So Landsman asks his question in French, and then you hear a translator translate it in Polish. Then you get the subtitles. Then you get the Polish answer without the subtitle, and then the French translator translates it back, and then you get the subtitle. So you see how that thing is like it's twice as long as it needs to be. So it's like it's a lot of
suspense there.
But it's a hard movie to say, that piece of crap or whatever. I mean, come on.
Well, there is one person that said that. And it's her most controversial review. Yeah. Polly Kael got hell for her review of Shoah. I mean, they were calling for her being fired.
I went back and read that review, and it wasn't, obviously it's a better review than mine, but when I was reviewing movies back in college, I went to go see that and reviewed it. And I had basically the same comments, the same kind of feeling that she had about it, too. I'm glad that she was brave enough to come out and say something, as controversial as that,
Yeah. So what, I know a documentary that I'm particularly fond of is Capturing the Freedmans.
That's a good one.
That's in my top 20 for sure.
I would have to say for me, Riding Giants, and that's, it's one of my favorite documentaries, and the corporation. The surfing one, yeah. I love I think Riding Giants. And the one before that Stacey Peralta did, Dogtown and Z-Boys. Awesome. Both of those I love a lot. The Corporation I think is very good. And then the one Bukowski Born into this, and then the more recent one, Gonzo. I mean, those were all documentaries I really like a lot. And the Capturing the Freedmans is great, Jamie. That's a wonderful, awesome film.
One of the movies that is usually in most people's top 5, they have it outside of their top 20, which is Hoop Dreams.
That's another one. Yeah, that's a great film.
I'd like to speak up for a couple that I hear. My second favorite documentary of all time came from '79. It's by Ira Wall. It won the Oscar that year. It's called Best Boy. It's the filmmaker's cousin is. It's a movie about the filmmaker's cousin who's a mentally challenged guy in his mid-50s, still living with his parents that are in their late 80s. They're about to pass away. And the filmmaker goes and tries to get them to let their son go out and try and be on his own, even though he's severely challenged.
Right.
That movie is just devastating. And also Robert Drew's Primary, which is about the 1960 presidential campaign.
Right.
And And also Crisis, which was about the Kennedy brothers trying to deal with the whole Alabama school desegregation thing going on with George Wallace and so forth. in the middle of their reign at the White House. And point of order, Emil D'Antonio's sort of redemption of the McCarthy hearings that came out in the mid-'60s is also just great. I mean, to take, thing that's 15 hours of footage and get it down to 90 minutes and make it a coherent dramatic story is really an achievement.
Well, my number one documentary, and we won't talk about it. It just bears mentioning, is the Up series.
Those have to be. Yeah.
For me, there's nothing more kind of important in terms of what film is. They have here's a couple of other titles: When We Were Kings,
that's
the
a
Ali.
great film. I love that film.
And here's probably one of the most unique pseudo documentaries ever. F for Fake, Orson Welles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a good choice. That's one I should I should totally was actually putting on my list because I do love that movie and it's a lot of fun.
Another Criterion title.
Another one is a trial. Yeah.
Another what?
I've never seen.
The Trial of Henry Kissinger. I'm sorry.
Oh, right. Trial
that
of
was
Henry
good.
Kissinger.
And then there's
that was good.
I've seen a lot of documentaries. Not this year. I think the most recent documentary I've seen this year is First Position about the ballet. That was good. But I don't know what else I've seen as far as documentaries go this year. That's the most recent one I've seen.
I dated a lot of ballet dancers in high school, actually, because we had a dance department at the art school, and I got them in every position, really. So terrible.
Oh my God, there was
Metallica. The Metallica. Speaking of music documentaries, some kind of monster.
Great. That's an eye-opening film.
That's a pretty. I've never seen it. It's pretty unflattering portrayal of those guys, isn't it?
The Paradise Lost series.
Paradise Lost they don't have on their list.
Yeah, so you got to have that. Definitely capturing the Friedmans, like you mentioned, and also for me, you have to have the two Ross McElwee movies, Sherman's March and Time Indefinite. I think they kind of go together.
And the War
Sherman's March.
I went to the War Room.
The War Room isn't on here either, which I thought was odd. I just rewatched that probably in the past year. I rewatched it.
That's a great film.
It's really something to watch now. It makes you, if you were supportive of him, especially, it makes you very wistful. Another one that I like from years ago, and we've talked about it on the show, was American Teen. I always liked that movie. And then one of the more recent documentaries that got a lot of acclaim in the past 4 or so years is Man on Wire. And there's a moment, and I did watch his other movie, The Project Nim. I
still got to watch that.
I've seen that too.
There's a moment in Man on Wire. I know I've talked about it before, but it's kind of this indescribable moment that it's hard to articulate, but emotionally I completely understood the moment. It's when they're all looking up and he's walking the wire, and his girlfriend at the time, that they had such a passionate affair at the time, she was looking up at him and crying because she thought the image of him up there resting on the high wire between the World Trade Center towers was so overwhelmingly beautiful. And she had an understanding at that point that their relationship was over. That was it.
Wow.
That's the end of that cycle of their love affair. And it's not something that you can really articulate the meaning of, but I feel it. I understand it emotionally, what she's saying,
Yeah.
That was good. Another good filmmaking one is Lost in La Mancha. That's a great.
Yes, which is
really
off again. I just read a new interview with Gilliam, and he says, no, my Man La Mancha film is postponed again, or my Don Quixote film is postponed again for another year at least. That guy, man.
That is going to be one hell of a windmill for that guy to slay. I'm telling you, he's. I guess he's just going to keep on at it.
Well, at least they finished the documentary, for God's sake. I mean, come on.
At least. I want to mention some really obscure documentaries that are on my list. One's actually by a friend of mine, but his name is Richard Sandler, and he did a movie back in '99 called The Gods of Times Square. And I don't know if I've talked about this on this show, but that is an extraordinary movie. It's really it's filmed from '94 to about '98. And it shows, it's really about, religious proselytizers in the Times Square district in New York City.
Okay.
But at the same time, in the background, the old Times Square is coming down and the Disney Times Square is going up. So you kind of got two fronts in this documentary. And he also did a documentary at the same time. He used to have to travel from his East Village apartment to Times Square, so he had his camera with him always. So when he would go into the subway, he would shoot things down there as well. So he made a great subway documentary called Sway. But he just has an eye, and his movies have such a feel all their own. I mean, there's no narration, there's no nothing. It's just shots and people proselytizing to the camera, and it's amazing. It's worth checking out. It's available. It's out there on DVD, both of those. And I also wanted to mention where is it here? I also wanted to mention a movie that came out in 2003 by Tom Anderson called Los Angeles Plays Itself. And it's basically a film lover's dream. It's a movie about how Los Angeles is portrayed in movies, and at the same time, how closely they get the idea of Los Angeles down, or what they play up and what they play down, and it's also a documentary about his memories of growing up in Los Angeles as well. I don't know how hard the movie is to find, because it literally must have clips from 150 movies in it, and I mean,
yeah.
You've
talked about it before with us on the show, actually.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's out there, You
don't know whether it's available?
I saw it. I've seen it, through a download on the computer, but it might be out there like on bootlegs or something like that. But I'm not really even sure that it's ever gotten an official release, because I would imagine, there would be a hell of a lot of money to pay for all those clips. I mean, it really does have a lot of clips in it.
Well, speaking of documentaries coming out, by the way, one that we haven't mentioned, it's kind of a documentary, it's more an instructional film, is the Zinc Oxide and You segment in Kentucky Fried Movie. That's great.
What about the Battle of Algiers count as a documentary?
Battle of Algiers, that's definitely a narrative film, but that movie takes a lot from documentary. Obviously, that it retains a lot of its power from its kind of documentary feel, its style. That's true guerrilla filmmaking. Really, that film. This year, actually, because the another high-profile documentary from years ago that we've covered on the show with the director was the Roman Polanski Wanted and Desired.
Mm-hmm.
And the director of that, Marina Zinovich, she's done a follow-up, and that comes out this fall. So I think we're probably going to see that screen at something like Venice.
Mm-hmm.
So we should get word on that sometime soon.
Maybe at New York. Maybe they'll play that at the New York Film Festival as well.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
They did a Polanski documentary. I think Laurent Bouzereau did one that played at Cannes, and that didn't get very good notices.
Mm-hmm.
And then Room 237, which is obviously the meaning of The Shining.
Don't forget the Camden 28.
I love the Camden.
Now, Laurent Bouzereau, he's the guy that does a lot of. Doesn't he do a lot of like extras on DVDs and so forth?
Yes.
does a lot of featurettes and stuff. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like his featurettes are just so like cookie cutter. They're like, well, first we start off with a picture, and then here we start off with 5 minutes of clips, and then we go into the first interview, and you can kind of like.
I think in terms of his Polanski documentary, the main criticism has been he's a little too enamored with his subject to kind of take a look back, get some perspective on the whole situation. So it plays like more of a fan letter with information that we already know. Yeah.
I have a documentary that I can't pronounce, but it's about. I saw it in 2002. It's about the French philosopher. Oh God, I can't. I'll spell his name for you, but I always mess it up. Derrida. Jacques Derrida. Derrida. I saw that documentary. I knew nothing about him. I just walked in the theater, and it's one of the most fascinating things I'd ever seen. I knew nothing about him.
What's it called?
That's it. It's his name. It's just
okay.
And it came out. It's by Kirby Dick.
Okay.
And I just never. I read about it. I went to go see it, and it's just a really fascinating film.
Kirby Dick, that has his movie about rape, sexual harassment and rape in the military right now.
Yeah. That's right. The Invisible War.
Yeah, that's right. And then
that was a fascinating film. I really loved it.
And then they've announced a Robert Altman documentary too, which should be interesting. Talk about a lot of interviews. I don't know, but talk about a lot of subjects that could be included in that movie.
Boy, that thing could be like 4 hours long. I hope it is 4 hours long. I mean, that could be such a great documentary.
And it'll all be improvised. It's amazing.
Yeah. Also we got to mention Charles Ferguson, who's been on the show and with talking about Inside Job and No End in Sight.
Yeah, those are both very, very good films. Really important films too.
He's got a real way about being able to condense a difficult subject down to a manageable, understandable.
Yeah, and he picked two formidable subjects in those two films to do that with.